The following program has been rated PG-13.
What's up, family? Welcome to another episode of the Israel Wake Up Call. I'm your brother Mike Maliss in Israel. We definitely have some things to talk about in regards to voting, in regards to this mass sin that our people are going to commit if you haven't done so already on November 3rd. But before we get into this, though, I want to send a very, very heartfelt congratulations to Priest Sabak and the House of Israel. Now, for those of you that are not familiar, Priest Sabak and the House of Israel are breaking ground this coming October 15th through the 18th, and they are opening another school in Detroit, Michigan. Let me tell y'all something right now. Israel. That is a major thing. And I'm so happy, and again, congratulations to you, brothers, because for our people to open up another school to teach our people the law, statutes, and commandments, that is groundbreaking. And I'm going to tell you why. The laws of Israel are not done enough because our people are not educated about the laws. Not all of us. So for them to open up this school in a major city is a major accomplishment. And again, I want to thank y'all so much. And let me tell you, I'm not about camp biased. All right? I want to make sure y'all understand me when I say that. I'm not about camp bias. Any person, any one of our brothers and sisters that are coming to us to teach us the laws, statutes, and commandments, and to get our nation in check, you are a brother and sister of mine. And so, kings, queens of the House of Israel, thank you and congratulations. Now, to my understanding, many of you are very familiar with King Out of Sight. Now, to my understanding, he will be there as well. So I want y'all to go out and go meet this brother. I want y'all to go out and meet all of the family of the House of Israel or whatnot, but y'all are more familiar on this platform with King Out of Sight. And he will be out there, and I think it's a wonderful idea for y'all to go out and meet him. And he actually is still wanting to pass out Bibles while he's there in that area to continue his ministry doing that. So for those of you who want to continue supporting this king, and of course, I will never ask you to do anything that I have not done myself, all right? So if you want to continue to support this brother, please do, and you can find his information right here or right here, whichever way it goes. And you can get him on Cash App, and you can continue to donate to this brother so that he can get Bibles to our people, and especially as they are breaking ground. So once again, for everybody that support this brother, thank you so much. And again, to the House of Israel, congratulations, and thank you for all that you do. Now, let's go ahead and get into this. Israel, should you be voting in this upcoming election? Should you? Should you be voting? Now, of course, I'm not going to give my opinion. We are going to go to the scriptures. But before we dive into the scriptures, though, I want to show you guys something here, okay? I want to read you something. Because many of us have forgotten second grade social studies when it comes to actually voting for the president of the United States. Now, we have been taught this already in elementary school. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to give every last one of you a reminder about who actually elects the president of the United States. All right, so I'm going to go here to this article. I'm going to read this here to you. And for many of you, it should jog your memory. But for many of you, though, you probably never even known this before. But you're going to learn today. And then I cannot wait until we get into the scriptures about this. All right. United States presidential election. Listen up, Israel. The election of the president and the vice president of the United States is an indirect election in which citizens of the United States who are registered to vote in one of the 50 U.S. states or in Washington, D.C., cast ballots not directly for those offices, but instead for members of the electoral college. Now, that's the part right there that should jog your memory, is the electoral college. All right? let's continue. These electors then cast direct votes known as electoral votes for president and for vice president. The candidate who receives an absolute majority of electoral votes, at least 270 out of 538, since the 23rd Amendment granted voting rights to citizens of D.C., is then elected to that office. If no candidate receives an absolute majority of the votes for president, the House of Representatives chooses the most qualifying candidate for the presidency. If no one receives an absolute majority of the votes for vice president, then the Senate elects the vice president. All right? Let me continue. I want to read all this. The Electoral College and its procedure are established in the U.S. Constitution by Article 2, Section 1, Clauses 2 and 4, and the 12th Amendment, which replaced Clause 3 after its ratification in 1804. Under Clause 2, each state casts as many electoral votes as the total number of its senators and representatives in Congress, while per the 23rd Amendment ratified in 1961, Washington, D.C. cast the same number of electoral votes as the least represented state, which is 3. Also under Clause 2, the manner for choosing electors is determined by each state legislator. Not directly by the federal government. Many state legislators previously selected their electors directly, but over time all switched to using the popular vote to choose electors. Once chosen, electors generally cast their electoral votes for the candidate who won the plurality in their state. But 18 states do not have provisions that specifically address this behavior. Those who vote in opposition to the plurality are known as faithless and unpledged electors. In modern times, faithless and unpledged electors have not affected the ultimate outcome of an election. I'm going to read that one more time. In modern times, faithless and unpledged electors have not affected the ultimate outcome of an election, so the results can generally be determined based on the state-by-state popular vote. In addition, most of the time, the winner of the U.S. presidential election also wins the national popular vote. There were 4 exceptions since all states have the electoral system we know today. They happened in 1876, 1888, 2000, the year of the Bush campaign, and 2016, and were all losses of 3 percentage points or less. Okay. Now, Israel, what does all that mean there? I need a drink. If you don't mind, can I get a drink, please? What did all that mean? For those of you that cannot pick up on it, it means that your vote don't mean a damn thing. Not a damn thing. So as a matter of fact, let me get a more simplified breakdown of what that was. Let's get a more simplified one. Let me show you. Okay, I'm gonna read this here. How does popular vote affect election day? When citizens, meaning you, cast their ballots for president in the popular vote, like we just read, they elect a slate of electors. Electors then cast the votes that decide who becomes president of the United States. Usually, electoral votes align with the popular vote in an election. So Israel, if you didn't pick up on this table already, your vote does not mean a damn thing. Your vote goes to electors, who, in case, will go ahead and determine who you should vote for. Your vote means absolutely nothing. Nothing. So, just from a worldly perspective, let me ask you this question. Why in the world, black man, Hispanic woman, black woman, Native American man, Native American woman, Israelites? Why are you voting in the first place? Just based on worldly standards. We didn't even get into the scriptures yet, which I'm about to get into. Why are you voting? It means nothing. Why do you engage in arguments / discussions with people about the political system? The political system that is designed to keep you enslaved. Madness, Israel. That's absolute madness. And that's exactly what the scriptures told us in the curses of Deuteronomy chapter 28, 15 through 68. Remember, we went over madness. We went over a mental illness in Israel. Remember, our people are engaging in mental illness right now in this country because they are having discussions in regards to who should be the next president of the United States. Do you realize that you are arguing over which slave master you are going to not put into the place of presidency so that these very same people and their Congress and their legislator can continue to make laws that will continue to keep you oppressed? Madness. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. So now that was based upon the world's system. I want you to open your Bibles to the 1611 King James Version Bible with the Apocrypha. I want you to go to Deuteronomy chapter 17 and verse 15. Deuteronomy chapter 17, verse 15. Now, Israel, what I'm getting ready to read you right now, I am getting ready to read you a law that the Most High instructed Moses to tell the Israelites, us blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans, what we are to do throughout our generations. Not just back then, throughout our generations, meaning all the way back then, all the way until now. Deuteronomy chapter 17, as a matter of fact, go to verse 14. Go to verse 14. I want to read it from there. When thou art come unto the land which the Lord thy God giveth thee, and shall possess it, and shall dwell therein, and shall say, I will set a king over me, meaning today a president, a czar, whatever the case is, a leader, a ruler, like as all the nations that are about me. Verse 15, thou shalt in any wise set him king over thee, whom the Lord thy God shall choose, one from among thy brethren. One from among thy brethren shall thou set king over thee. Thou mayest not set a stranger over thee, which is not thy brother. That's a law, Israel. That is what the Most High God told each and every last one of us Israelites. We are not to put somebody over us. Even in this captivity, we are not supposed to put anybody over us that is not of Israel. Law. So now, if we go against that, Israel, what are we doing? We are breaking the law that the Most High God set for us. What is that called? It's called sin. So now, our people, if you have not already, is going to commit mass sin come November 3rd. Mass sin. And you are going to find out exactly why I am saying that. Now, let's go to Deuteronomy chapter 1. Let's go to the beginning of this book. Go to Deuteronomy chapter 1. Go down to verse 13. Go to verse 13, Israel. Watch this. Take you wise men and understanding and known among your tribes, and I will make them rulers over you. Now, I wanted to do this here backwards because I wanted to show you directly there in Deuteronomy 17 that it says the very same thing in the beginning of the book. So not only was he telling you this here in the beginning of the book, but he also told you this here in chapter 17. So the question now is, why in the world are we going to go vote? When the Most High God said, we cannot vote for somebody that is not our brother. We cannot put anybody over us that is not an Israelite. And it didn't only say from the tribe of Judah, it said from someone amongst your tribes. So that could be a Black, Hispanic, or Native American. But yet, we are going to run out and go vote for one of these two men right here. So Israel, are either one of these men Israelites? The answer is no. These are Edomites. These are the very same individuals that the Most High God said we cannot vote for. But yet, our people are running out in droves to go commit mass sin. And I got to keep stressing that mass sin because you're going to find out why I keep saying that. Because we are putting ourselves in such of a debacle, in such of a horrible predicament, willingly. Now, I want you to go to Proverbs. Go to Proverbs chapter 29. Go down to verse 2. Proverbs chapter 29, verse 2. This is going to sum all that up. When the righteous are in authority, the people rejoice. But when the wicked beareth rule, the people mourn. That was so self-explanatory. That was so direct. That was so in your face. The only ones that can be righteous amongst Israel are the righteous Israelites. Neither one of them are going into office. Neither one of them are running for the ones who are running. Those two individuals, they're not Israelites. So we can't vote for them, Israel. See, and this is the thing that bothers me so much because here you have all of these Christian people, all these Black Christians, the Baptists, Methodists, and what have you. They are so biblically literate, right? But yet, they're the main people that's going out there and telling our people to go vote. The main ones. Not only them, though. And also the entertainers, especially the rappers. So here you have these so-called Christians, entertainers, and rappers who are supposed to be some of the elite and, some of the more conscious people. They're going out to tell our people to set somebody over us that is going to continue to hand out punishment amongst our people. Tell me how that works. Seriously. That's why I can't stand them Christian churches. They will sit there and have an entire sermon on who they feel you should vote for. And again, it just goes to show you that they have no idea about the damn Bible. And then here comes the absolute disgusting rapper. Let me be nice. But here comes the rapper who will endorse these presidential candidates and are supposedly speaking up for our people. Nigga, you ain't speaking for me. I'm telling you. But it just goes to show you that the pastors and the rappers, they're paid. They are the wolves within Israel. And I don't mean the tribe of Benjamin. These are the wolves that have absolutely no care in the world or no regard for our very own people. Because here are the churches telling you to sin and the rappers telling you to put our slave master, another slave master in power. But for the rappers, let me ask y'all a question. Can I ask y'all a question? For you rappers, for you entertainers, are y'all niggas hardcore or hard pressed? Make up your mind about which one you want to be. Okay? You can't be one or the other. All right? You A lot of times for these rappers, the best thing for you to do is to shut the hell up. Honestly, just shut up. All right, now. Let's talk about the prostitute. I gotta get a drink of water for this one. Let's talk about the prostitute. Israel, I want you to go to 1 Timothy chapter 2, verse 12. 1 Timothy chapter 2 and verse 12. I'm going to read this, and then we're going to get into this here. But I suffer not a woman to teach, nor to usurp authority over the man, but to be in silence. So why did I read that, Israel? Why did I read that? Because for the Democratic portion of this election, there was a candidate called Kamala Harris. Now, for those of you who are not familiar with Kamala Harris, she is a former district attorney for the state of California. Now, pretty much what that means that she is the top policing official for that state. Now, for those of you who don't know about Kamala Harris now, I want you to take a look at this. This is her and her husband. Israel? You see that? Kamala Harris is not for Israel. I'm going to prove it right now. Kamala Harris is married to who the Bible calls the enemies of Israel. She's not for you. She has no interest for our people. And let me go ahead and read this here before I get into what I want to say about her. Let me go ahead and read this. Okay? Just because y'all think I'm lying or whatever, or I don't know what I'm talking about. Now, this is coming from, it's a site called afropunk.com. And the title is Kamala Harris has been tough on black people, not crime. Kamala Harris has been tough on black people, not crime. I'm going to read this. A couple of months ago, I was chilling at my partner's house watching football. During a commercial break, we started talking about Kamala Harris. And my partner's older cousin shouted, "Kamala Harris? She been locking niggas up at Renee," referring to the Oakland courthouse, "since way back in the day and was doing it with a smile on her face." He wasn't wrong. Kamala Harris has spent her career as the district attorney of Alameda County, San Francisco, and has the attorney general, aka top cop of California, like I said earlier. As someone from the Bay Area and living in Oakland, I am constantly reminded of her history of locking up black people in the Bay Area. Her track record consists of terrorizing black communities through the prison industrial complex, and she has consistently shown herself to be an enemy to the masses of black people. Now, this is somebody right here that is talking about a former representative of their state. They're familiar with her practices because she used to police over them. Now, also, Trump came out and said the very same thing. So here you have our people saying it, and you also have the current president of the United States that brought it up in their whatever it is, their debate. That's the word, in their debate. And they're not the only ones. This has come out about Kamala Harris all throughout the political arena. It has. And she's married to Esau. Now, all of a sudden, now that election time is here, She's for us. Black power. No. It can't be black power. It can't be black power because you're under white power. When you put your fist up, Kamala Harris, it turns white. So, Israel, not only, before I say that, I want some scriptural foundation. I want you to go to Judith, the book of Judith. Go to chapter 5. Judith chapter 5. Go down to verse 12. No, go to verse 20. Let me start there at verse 20. Judith chapter 5, verse 20. I'm going to read this here to you so that you can get a full understanding of what I'm saying. Now, therefore, my Lord and Governor. Now, this is the other nations talking to Edomite ruling right now. Watch. Now, therefore, my Lord and Governor, if there be any against this people, speaking of the Israelites, if there be any error against this people and they sin against their God, let us consider that this shall be their ruin. And let us go up and we shall overcome them. Verse 21. But if there be no iniquity in their nation, let my Lord now pass by, lest their Lord defend them and their God be for them, and we become a reproach before all of the world. Israel, did you understand what that just said? Do you understand what these other nations already know? They already know if the Israelites, if we keep the commandments that the Most High God gave us, that they can no longer be overruled with us. That situation will change. Because if we keep the commandments, the Most High God will actually defend us. So now, why is it so important? Why is it so adamant that every election year, all of the focus is on the black vote, on the Hispanic vote, and on the Native American vote? Why? Because when we vote for any one of these people that are not Israel, guess what? We are in national sin. National sin, right here in the daughter of Babylon. How are we in sin? Because, number one, we cannot put somebody overrule of us in power. Number two, we cannot put a woman over us in power. So that's not one sin, it's two. On a mass scale, mass sin, national sin, Israel. And as you saw, they recognize us as a nation. Right here in the scriptures. And that is our history, Israel. That is our history. There it is. Now do you see why our people continue to die in this country? All over the world, but I'm speaking specifically right now about America, because we are in national sin, Israel. It cannot get any more plain than that. And the whole thing with this here is that we do it willingly. And you know why? Because we're not educated. But now you are. But now you are educated. With Kamala Harris, this woman here, first of all, she's sickening and disgusting, number one. Because this woman has made it her effort. She made this a part of her agenda to lock up our people. And so many people have said she has done this with a smile on her face. And when you go back and you look at her history, you will see how true it is. And do you know why she's doing this? First of all, because she hates her people, number one. Number two, because her slave back whipping master, called her husband, is also responsible for allowing that to happen, because that is an Edomite freaking voice in her hair that goes into her mind. In that ear that goes into her mind. And there's so many people out there that's running to put this woman in office. And it is a sin. It's right there, Israel. I just read the scriptures. I'm not lying to you. I'm not lying to you. I just read you the scriptures. And there it is. Let me tell you something right now. I don't vote, number one. But if I did vote, I would vote for Trump. Just so that her ass cannot be put in office. Our very own, who would, can you imagine her being in the presidency? And she already has the history of hating our people? This is why, and I hate talking politics, I really, really do. But this is why our people just need sometimes just to be quiet. Shut the hell up. Get in the Bible and read. Just shut up. And for all of you out there after hearing this, you still going to go vote? You are the biggest part of our problem. The biggest part of it. When you should be speaking, you don't. And when you shouldn't, you do. All of our people should be coming right out of these scriptures and giving our family the word, the laws, statutes, and commandments to keep us from sinning. But everybody wants to have this political opinion, and everybody wants to feel like they won something, like they won. The person who they did not vote for, because your vote don't mean a damn thing. But you could jump up and say, yay, we won, yay. You didn't win a damn thing. You received no prize. Do you know what you just earned yourself in sin? More oppression. You lost. Every time an Edomite is put into power, or any other nation on this planet outside of Israel that is a governor and ruler over you, you have lost, my friend. And there are going to be so many people who, oh, God, this nigga tripping. No, I'm not tripping. I'm telling you the truth. And it has nothing to do with my opinion. I'm giving you what the damn scriptures say. But yet, I'm still tripping though, right? Okay, you can believe whatever you want to. But on the day that you have to stand in front of the Most High, guess what? You are going to have to pay for that. Because now you know, and with you knowing, if you still continue to do it, if you do not back out of this and say, you know what, I'm not going to vote, you are sinning against the Most High God, and you might as well just go ahead and put both fingers up to him and say, I'm going to do what I want to do. Because I just showed you right here that it is unlawful for you to, for anybody that is outside of Israel. So Israel, there it is. There it is. And there really isn't anything else to say about that, because that was very directed in your face. But guess what, though? Our people are going to continue doing what they do. But Israel, now you know. Now you know. So going forward here, you know that, you know the rules now. I don't need to repeat it. I already said it. You know the rules. You know the rules. And I want you to spread these rules to the rest of our people so that we are not committing national sin. All right? And Israel, I want y'all to have a wonderful, wonderful week. And I love y'all so much. And Israel, once again, we will see each other Friday night Sabbath. And until next time, Israel, I love you. I'm out.